like you switched your marketing and everything to really like maybe funnel that demand to the inventory that you have versus sort of being letting the pandemic dictate terms to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. From the get-go, we were honest with our customers. We posted several posts on Instagram on the fact that maybe orders would be delayed, and just like constantly having that conversation with them so that they know that they can trust us, number one, that we still have very good customer service, number two, and number three, that we're going to be with them every step of the way. And nothing has changed basically, and you can still shop from our website. There's nothing to worry about, but to expect that maybe things won't arrive within a week, for example, but that you're still getting a great shopping experience.
Right. And so when you did that, did you get any customers writing to you and saying something like, hey, this is awesome, thank you, like this is exactly what I needed? Did you get some kind of that market feedback, or was it just morally that you tested it based on sales, like people buying it, so you knew you had the right idea?
No, we definitely did get some comments like that. Some people, like, again, they were like, oh, are you guys still operating? Like, are you still selling? And we were like, yep, like nothing, nothing's changed. But right now we just want to focus on items that, we think you're gonna enjoy more from, like wearing at home, because you can't really leave and you're around family and etc. So we definitely we always have these conversations with our customers. We always we ask them also. We post a lot of times like different products that we haven't purchased yet, and we ask them like, do you like this? Like, what do you think of this? Because I mean, that just gives you all the answers you need. You can literally just ask your customers what it is that you like and what it is that you would want more of from us. And that's what we do. We do that all the time. And this has also helped us in making those decisions of our purchasing and what works best, what doesn't work best. And especially during different seasons, like right now, this is typically, we're kind of entering like bridal season right now, but there's not a lot of weddings, but people are still telling us like, no, we want to order this stuff, because as soon as this is over, like there will be so many weddings basically.
Right. Yeah. I think there's just going to be a ton of pent up demand. I think travel is another one where I think people just being stuck at home. I don't even want to think about what the airports are going to look like when people actually get to go ahead to go travel. But I think there's just so many good nuggets of advice in there that I really just want to like take a little bit of a moment and unpack that. Right. I think what you guys did has been very smart so far. So for everyone listening in, I think just doing that risk analysis, huge. But in the end, it seems like most of the decisions you guys made were based on the fact that you knew your customers very well. And it really made things easier for you to make those decisions. So, I think as entrepreneurs, we tend to forget that, like, if we've been in business for a long time, you do already have a pretty good idea of who your customer is. You've been talking to them, you've been selling to them. So even if you don't know exactly how to react, just like what Christina was talking about, you could email them, right? Like what you guys just did. Like you could talk to them and you could be like, hey, like, we're thinking of this new idea, or like we'd like to try this new concept, and you can do a quick test. I think that's a very smart way of going about it. Well done, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, we like to say our customers are sometimes high maintenance, and they can be very demanding, and they can actually tell us like, we don't like that, we want this, like very specifically, like we want the color red, for example. So you kind of get used to it, and at the end of the day, we're here for them, and it's to provide them with a good shopping experience, good quality products, and so that they will keep coming back. I mean, I think that's like the ultimate goal, with an e-commerce business is that, you know, your retention rate is always up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's always cheaper to keep your existing customer than spend money on getting a new one, right?
Absolutely.
Um, so let's move on a little bit to sort of the present day. So we've talked a lot about how you guys planned around it, and it sounds like you guys made some really good decisions. But you know, essentially, somebody who's listening in, who's thinking, you know what, I actually haven't done that, and that ship has kind of sailed, right? Like you can't suddenly go and do a big order and come in. Assuming that you know people do have some inventory, like what is like business as usual, quote unquote, look like for you guys right now? Like, how are you managing it throughout this? Because there's no certainty. Like what we just talked about, maybe before we started recording the podcast, you don't even know how long the lockdown is going to be. You know, like what is that new normal for you? How are you guys running your business right now?
So another thing I actually should mention is that we, um, since a month ago, I've been emailing not just our suppliers, but even like the subscription tools and everything that we're using to ask for discounts, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because obviously we do have to think about the fact that money will eventually run out. And so one of the first things I did was I just emailed everyone and I said, you know, no one knows how long this is going to last. Is there anything that you can do to kind of help us during these times? And you know, surprisingly, many times people say yes, and they, you know, I've gotten like for example, Zoho, which is our CRM management tool, gave us 3 months for free.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've been emailing AWS to ask for some type of credits or, you know, some type of way to reduce our monthly costs a bit.
Right.
And also the brands that we're carrying, I've asked them all to, if they can give us some type of discount, 10-15%, because anything helps. And so that's kind of become the new normal for us. Also just being in constant update in contact with our logistics provider. Another thing that's completely changed that we were not expecting, which we were aiming for down the line, was to increase our credit card usage, because in the Middle East the majority of people pay with cash on delivery. And so this affects our cash cycle, and we don't get the money deposited into our bank account until 3 weeks later. So as a result of the pandemic, countries in the region have now stopped cash on delivery, and you can do card on delivery or you can do prepaid. So our credit card usage has gone up, which is, you know, has been the goal for us since day one. So in a way, there's many threats, but at the same time there are opportunities, and this is an opportunity for us, because we you know, if we have our cash cycle in a healthy flow, then, you know, we're able to make more purchases, and we're able to just like, the overall health, the financial health of the business is in a better state than the way it used to be, where we were constantly waiting on our cash on delivery payments to be processed.
Sure. So basically, you've seen some. I don't want to use the word good, but like you've seen some favorable changes as well, amidst all the doom and gloom. Um, Okay, but you know, I want to get back to that like question on like business as usual right now, right? Like how are you guys like, you know, for instance, are you having more frequent leadership meetings where you're thinking, you know, what to do, or are you you know, because it seems like there's a risk or some problem happening very frequently. So, you know, you just mentioned the logistics provider not having the passes for 2 days. So, you know, I'm sure that had some alarm bells ringing. Have you guys changed the way you work for this period?
So I will say that we were actually very well equipped to handle this situation, to work remotely and to work from home,
Okay.
because we already have been doing it. The
Mhm.
team is basically remote. My co-founder is in the US right now. We have someone else in Turkey. We have someone else in Canada. So we already had the tools in place in order to create a business like this virtually. I mean, there are several months in the year where we are together, but it hasn't been like that since maybe 6 months. So we already do talk every single day. We have our scheduled meetings every single week where, I highly recommend always using video when you're talking to your staff, because, you want to see everyone. You want to
Sure.
make sure that you want to make sure that you're on the same page. And obviously we use like tasks management tools like Asana, and to make sure everyone is on top of their to-do lists. So in terms of like the actual running of the business, it
Mhm.
it hasn't we haven't felt it negatively, just because it was our day-to-day business as usual operations.
So let's condense that to perhaps some advice that someone listening in right now who is not as well versed in remote working and has sort of found themselves forced to do that. So from what you're saying, it sounds like you encourage very frequent cadence, right? So a lot of meetings where I guess one thing I've heard about remote working is over communicate more than under communicate, because you want to make sure people
Yeah.
really get it. Would you? And I think the second part of what you said was that you use some kind of software to like do some kind of project management, task management, so that everybody's sort of on the same page. Are these sort of the two pillars of like what you described to be why you guys are so effective as a remote team?
Yeah, and I think also honesty, like, being honest, being accountable, and being available. I think these
Hmm.
are the other three things that I would say helps our team run really well, because when we don't know something, we say we don't know it, and when we have to do,
Hmm.
we do it, and we're not relying on someone else. We're not waiting on someone else. I will say that I don't think any of this is possible if you don't have the right team. And
Yes.
I think that is why we're managing so well during this period, because we're really there for each other and we really provide support for one another. um, we're all in different places right now, so we are each other's support unit in a way. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I think just like being there for one another, and it's okay if you're having a tough day, like, like, we're super flexible. Like, we're not like you need to be online at 10 a.m. or, like, it's never been the case like that with us, which is why we give everyone such flexibility and such transparency, because we know at the end of the day they're going to get the job done, and it doesn't matter what time they get it done.
Yes.
um, so this is I think what else contributes to how we're able to operate during this difficult period.
And you know what? Honestly, I think that's the key one, more than anything else. It's like that trust that you have with your team. Like, I mean, obviously, you may disagree, but because I've seen stories where apparently, like, sales of spying software has skyrocketed now, where bosses want to install stuff on their employees' computers just to make sure they know, what they're doing. And it's like, it's like, at least from what I see, when you're going into a new model, the only choice you have is to embrace it fully. And the thing with remote working is equals flexibility. It means that you can get out of bed in your pajamas and get to work. So, you know, it's not about completing this hourly quota of work where you could be playing solitaire. Rather, like, there's a task and you've got to do it by, I don't know, Friday, 12 p.m., 12 noon. And I don't care if you do it at 3 a.m. on a Thursday, it's fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I left my previous job because of those like stringent, like, ways of operating, and like just constant wanting this constant check-in,
Yeah.
which was not for my personality at all. So it makes sense that starting this business, I would do something that's completely opposite of that. Of course, we all have work to do, and of course, we all have things that we need to get done and finish things on time. Sometimes there's deadlines.
Sure.
People are what customers are waiting, our suppliers are waiting, the delivery companies, etc. But one of the reasons for starting the business was also to create a work environment that is open and it doesn't have such strict measures on
Right.
everyone.
No, that makes a lot of sense. So I want to switch gears a little bit now, because we talked about being human, connecting authentically, and that with the team and employees. But it sounds a lot to me like you've done the same thing with your customers, right? Like you've clearly built a community of people who identify with the brand and what it stands for, and I think there's an unprecedented number of people who are considering having to go online right now. I think they've been in brick and mortar stores all their life. They've never really gone online, and the conversations I've been seeing have kind of been on the wrong topic. So everyone's really worried about whether they should be on Shopify or WooCommerce or Magento, like in a very technical sense. But I'm not sure. It sounds like you guys really didn't do that too much. You were really focused on the customer. So maybe just walk us through your thought process in 2017 when you founded the company. So you want to go online. You've clearly built a successful brand, but like it's never a straight line. Like you made mistakes and you did some things right. And so for someone thinking about going online today, how would you condense your sort of school of hard knocks into like a few bits of advice? It's a tough one, I know, but
so yeah, I mean, we were in this position when we first launched, like what platform do we use? So to backtrack even some more, like I didn't have a business background. I didn't have experience in running an online business. I politics and international. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Oh, I guess my
it looks like it disconnected for a second.
Okay. So basically, I was saying I studied politics and international law, and my background was in something extremely different. And I thought that I was gonna go work at the United Nations, for example, and do something that I felt had impact, maybe in the traditional sense of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I, then I started learning about entrepreneurship, and I started learning about tech and startups, and I decided that, this was a really interesting field. There were a lot of other startups launching from Palestine, and I thought, why not try something completely new? Because I was always the type of person that would just start things without really having a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. And I've done that in my past and previous work. So, I just jumped into it without my co-founder and we just like came up with this idea, and we said for us, we wanted to do something that would be able to impact women's lives positively. Mm-hmm. And this was, that was kind of the backbone for launching the business. And then everything else was literally us figuring it out. Like we, is there a platform we can use where we can do everything ourselves? Like we don't have the money to hire a developer to make a website. So basically we went on Shopify and we just like read blogs, and we took online courses, and we really taught ourselves what we're supposed to do. Like we've been doing the marketing, we've been doing the purchasing, we've been doing everything ourselves. And we've been able to grow our community. Like on Instagram now we have over 130,000 followers. So it's a lot of trial and error.
Let's talk about that though. So you tried so many. That's all right.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah, okay. You sound much better now.
Okay.